what factors impacted gas prices? So, you're making me pull out my knowledge. Gosh.
Yes.
All right. So gas prices, first of all, are obviously based on the Ethereum price. So it is going to depend on the Ethereum price. However, they are not actually calculated in Ethereum. They're calculated by something called Wei, which are a different token from Ethereum that are used to pay gas. So gas is used to gas goes to pay the crap are they called?
You're gonna have to pull out your
The people who do the transactions.
miners.
Miners. My brain was saying minters, and I'm like, that's not correct. The miners. So when you have a blockchain, you have people who mine the blocks.
Yes.
And so when you want to do a transaction that goes into one of the blocks, and so you have to pay one of the miners in order to get your transaction to go through. Your gas price is going to depend on how complicated your transaction is. So your transaction can be as simple as just sending Ethereum from one place to another. Super, super simple. That's like probably one of the most simple types of transactions that there are. If you are deploying a smart contract, that is a very complicated transaction. So your gas is going to depend on your code. And it's going to depend on how complicated your code is, how much there is, and the reason why they have this whole gas thing, and the reason why it can get very expensive is because pretty much when they run your code, your smart contract on the blockchain, they want to make sure that you don't have like an infinite loop or something that is going to crash the blockchain, because that will crash the entire blockchain, and that would be a very, very, very bad thing. So every single thing that your code does requires a certain amount of gas depending on what type of thing it does. And when you send the gas with your transaction, it will go through that gas and run your code. And if it runs out of gas, then it's going to not let your contract be deployed. It's not going to go through. So this pretty much prevents anybody from being able to crash the blockchain, I guess.
Yeah, to have an infinite loop, for example, to kill the entire
accidentally
blockchain.
Or on purpose.
Because I mean, the part of it is miners right now with the proof of work. So everyone on the network, it gets really complicated in detail, but everyone on the network has to run the same code, blah blah yada 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 yada.
But also, on top of this is not a first come first serve sort of thing. So the miners can actually choose which transactions to put in the block. So the gas price, as you were looking at something showing about the estimation of how much the gas costs at any point in time. And when the network is busier, gas prices will go up because the miners will take the gas prices that are the highest. They're going to want to take the transactions that are going to pay them more. And when there's not very much competition on the blockchain and nobody's really doing anything, gas prices go down. So that is also highly dependent on how busy it is. So we generally try to do transactions like in the middle of the night when it's a lot quieter and things aren't happening as much, although that is not a guarantee. Where there have been many times we've tried to deploy something or mint something and it's the middle of the night and we're just like, why is gas like ridiculous right now? And it's because some projects it's kicking off and everybody's trying to mint something or something. But so I think those are all the different factors that can go into gas price. Does that help?
I mean, it's
sad.
It's pretty good, Alison. You give it's a good explanation, but I think unless you kind of work with it day to day, it's still kind of hard for most people to understand like the reason why you need it and all that stuff and how and all that. And I think that was a good explanation for it. But
Okay.
right now you can see that, like Allison said, there's different in the whole gas. Just speaking of gas, there's a whole market for in terms of what they call like the fees market of how much you want to pay, and it gets really complicated in
Gas
that
prices
sense.
are location dependent. No.
No, it's just it depends on the like Allison said, how congested the network is. So imagine if you're taking this is a good analogy where you want to take Uber, right? You want to call for Uber, and if you want to call that in LA on a Friday night when everyone's
Or
going out,
tomorrow
or tomorrow
with the
the
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl at the at the SoFi Stadium or around there, it's they can probably gonna charge you an arm and leg to take
It's going to
you
be
places,
ridiculously expensive,
right? Because
because of how many people are trying to
how
get
many
rides.
people are exactly, and
Whereas if it's the middle of the night on a day where nothing's happening, and
or even like right now where not much is going on,
yeah,
actually like on the weekdays or something like that, then you're gonna pay a lot cheaper on Uber for them to take you somewhere. And I think the same sort of gas market or mechanic works the same way as on Ethereum. And this is
So,
Ethereum.
my guess is Blacklash was asking that because we were like, well, we wait till midnight.
Yeah.
If we could stay up till later, that might actually be better sometimes.
Yeah.
But it does very much depend. But I feel like a lot of the traffic does happen in like the US. We do a lot of the traffic. So like in our main hours, there is a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is worldwide. It's just for some reason, midnight tends to work better.
And remember, this is Ethereum, and is a proof of work blockchain. If you're dealing with something like Polygon, is a whole different mechanic of
Because
how
it's
things
proof of
work.
stake.
Yeah, it's proof of stake, and also it's a side chain. It's different. It has different validators. The way that it works is different. On Avalanche, same thing. It's different. But Ethereum is kind of like the big daddy when it comes to these NFT and smart contract. And a lot of people kind of, can think of a lot of people kind of associate Ethereum being to like New York, Manhattan, when it's massive. Everyone knows about it. Everyone does business there. Polygon, you can think of it as like, it's a little bit offshoot, a little city offshoot somewhere else where there's business going on, but it's not, you do the major important stuff on Ethereum. And Ethereum, just like New York, you have a lot of art being displayed in New York, and those arts are expensive and meaningful. And you have I don't know, some town on the Midwest where it's they probably have galleries and arts and stuff, but it's a little bit less people frequent it. It's less.
You're definitely never going to
yeah.
get the same as like New York City.
Yeah, like Broadway or something, on New York, on in Manhattan.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
yeah.
all the real estate's expensive. Taxis probably expensive, more expensive there too. Everything you do, any kind of cost of living is more expensive there for sure. So, but yeah, I don't know. Did we answer the question?
I mean, we're pretty much talking about gas, so I
Yeah.
think that kind of at least summarizes things. If you have
Yeah.
further questions, let us know,
Yeah,
and we'll try to answer it a little better.
yeah.
We do have a next question though. If
No,
you're
I
ready for...
actually want to address something. Oblivion said, I write simple code, so should be cheaper. Yeah. Technically, you could write, since EVM, you can write a smart contract. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of make it more gas efficient, so it uses less gas. And then you can deploy it. It's a little bit cheaper, cheaper to interact and stuff like that. Yeah. So technically, you could write quote unquote cleaner.
I mean, that
better.
is the goal. That is one of the principles that they always bring up
Yeah.
when you're writing smart contract code is simpler is better, shorter is better. Like, don't make it super complicated because it's going to be freaking expensive.
Yeah.
And also, one very important thing about smart contracts is that they're immutable. Once you put it on the blockchain, you can't change it. There's nothing you can do. You can't go back. You can't fix it. If it's on the blockchain, you can never go back and change it. So make sure your code is very, very, very well tested.
Yeah.
But there is testnet, right? So we were talking about testing, and that is one of the things that we always try to do before we deploy to mainnet.
Yeah.
Is deploy on one of the test nets, which first of all is extremely cheap. I mean, can't you can get the tokens for testnet for free.
So
right?
Rinkeby, for Ethereum mainnet EVM stuff, you can there's a bunch of different ones. There's Rinkeby, there's the Coven, there's a couple more other ones. But yes, most blockchain always have testnets, so you can just kind of deploy stuff.
So test your stuff out, deploy to testnet. That's definitely a good way. Verifying your code, I think, is another one of the big things that you always do. Left the comments in the code. Yeah, it's not a concern about how long the file is.
Yeah, it's
just about how many things run.
Yes, it's the computational sort of units.
So comments are totally fine.
Yeah.
If you wanted to write comments of your entire everything, you could, and it I don't think it would impact your gas price at all.
Yeah.
Shouldn't.
Yeah.